Hello, romance lovers! Today I have a story for you called How to Save the Villain Who Was Abandoned by the Female Lead. Don't forget to support this video with a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new interesting stories. The maid called out to Ciel and asked if she had made tea. Ciel was a little taken aback. The girl had forgotten about him. The maid said that Ciel should definitely make tea from Lorraine. Ciel hurriedly ran to make tea for dinner. She thought that all these things were very troublesome. The girl walked and thought about everything. She knew that the Duke was going to die today. She was a simple maid and was not close to the Duke, but she knew that he had his whole life ahead of him. Ciel knew that the Duke had only come of age this year. The girl sincerely did not believe that he could die in his office. Ciel knew everything that would happen. In her past life, she had read a novel about him and knew everything. The girl found tea and briefly thought that everything that was happening was very surprising, because not everyone can get into their favorite novel. Seeing the table in the Jescarts estate, Ciel started to drool, because everything seemed very appetizing to her. But the girl mentally told herself to pull herself together, because she knew what day it was. At the Ciel couldn't understand how Saint Reyna could sit with such a peaceful expression on her face and eat calmly, and then later kill a person. The Duchess loved Duke First very much, but to her regret, his love was unrequited. Instead of love, he decided to go to war, and her love turned into hatred for him. The Duchess gave her preference to her husband's cousin, Prince Callan, and decided to poison her husband. The girl thought that it would be nice if the Duchess changed her mind. After all, Ferzi was the Duke of the White Estate, and he behaved normally with the servants. The Duke and Duchess were sitting and discussing the incident where a lady was attacked and tried to sweat. First was puzzled how a royal person could be attacked. The Duchess said that she managed to buy Serratian Northern Mountain wine. After all, it is not sold in stores. And she also added that they will prepare it in honor. Ciel knew that the wine was poisonous. She didn't want the Duke to drink it. So the girl decided to stop the Duchess from killing him and quickly knocked the Duke was perplexed. He ordered the Duchess to be protected and asked the girl how she could betray him. But the girl only said that the wine was poisoned and that he should not drink it. The girl knew that if she drank the wine, she would not die. So she told the Duke that she would drink instead of him. Since he was definitely going to die, and she was not going to have such a sad fate. The girl took a couple of sips and was shocked by what happened. She became a child. The Duke was at a loss. He told Sir Bart that he seemed to have gone mad. He ordered the servant to lock the girl up. The young lady was furious. She shouted at him. Ciel woke up and didn't understand where she was. It wasn't a dungeon, but a cozy room. Ciel was surprised when she saw the Duke next to her bed. He said that it was high time for her to get up, and that she should thank the butler for not ending up in prison. He also said that the butler woke the girl up and introduced her to the maids as Miss Ciel Besenna from the far northern region. Ciel was shocked and thought that they were just making fun of her. She decided to play along. Ciel was sitting with the Duke and eating. He said that she had caused quite a stir. The girl timidly said that she had not wanted things to turn out this way. She also said that she would work for him as a maid and would not go to the Besens. Ciel knew that family was made up of mercenaries, and they didn't follow the rules. They were mages. And if someone didn't have a family but had magical power, they could accept the mage into their family. But even if you looked at them the wrong way, the girls were upset and almost cried in front of him. The Duke offered her cookies. Ciel couldn't believe it. The butler brought them the contract. Ciel was surprised. The Duke said that the bottle contained no ordinary poison. It was a very strong poison that could kill up to 10 people at once. A knight came to the Duke. He was surprised by the Duke's request. The young man did not understand why he needed to heal the maid, but this was no ordinary knight. But the elder Seal was surprised by the knight's arrival. After all, there was a very strong feud between the families, which smoothly turned into a war after the saint was kidnapped. The Duke rescued her from the girl greeted her politely, but the knight said he did not need greetings from those below him in status. Their eyes met, and the knight said she was truly a fearless maid for looking him in the eye. No one else did that except his. He asked the girl if she was a murderer or a double agent, but she only said that she was a simple maid. The knight was furiously surprised by her answer. The young man thought out loud that she was too plain to be his sister and not even fit to be a maid. The Duke told the girl that it was time for her to sleep. Ciel was a little confused, as they first gave her a contract and then abruptly sent her to sleep. The girl fell asleep but heard a noise. She saw men sitting, who were thinking about the deal and its conditions. Ciel heard their conversation about the engagement. She couldn't understand what was going on. She wanted to hear the rest of what they were talking about. But in a rush of emotion, she couldn't. Since the girl saved the Duke, he had to lift the curse from her. It could only be lifted by the Bacena family, and for cover, the family would adopt her. In return, they wanted to get the mines where they mined magic stones, which helped in the. Ciel drank tea and listened to the information about her engagement. After the assassination attempt, the Duke broke off the engagement with his chosen one, but he needed a new wife. In order to avoid marrying the sister, Ciel thought about this proposal and signed the contract. After all, she thought that there was nothing terrible about it. In 3 years, the curse would be lifted from her, and she would be an adult girl. Ciel thanked the Duke for not leaving her and for giving her a chance to live a good life. The young man took the girl in his arms and said that it was time for them to set out on their journey north. Sharkies was giving instructions to the young lady, and she listened attentively. He warned her about many things, but the main warning was that she should avoid his father and brother. They were dangerous. The girl was riding in a carriage, her first ride, and was quietly humming a song. Sharkies asked where exactly she heard the song. The girl said on the street when she was in the orphanage. The girl's name was Yeon Ziyun, an orphan. She was always busy with work and even died on a business trip. When she woke up, she saw that she had been reborn into the body of a young. Ciel secretly stole money from her father and escaped from the slums, but life threw her new challenges. Ciel was seriously injured. A woman saved her from death. It was the head housekeeper. She nursed her back to health and helped her with her work. Sharkies listened to her story. He didn't hold the girl very much, and she wasn't even surprised. But he said that soon she would be grateful to have such a wonderful brother. The young man asked Ciel if her father was still alive. The girl said that she did not know since she had not spoken to him. Sharkies said that she should settle all family matters so that they would not bring trouble in the future. The carriage stopped. Ciel saw Ferze. They were being followed, and he was actively engaged in eliminating them. His face was covered in blood. Ciel wanted to ask if he was injured, but the young man only answered that they arrived north 2 days later. Sharkies frantically wanted to send Ferze somewhere, but the young lady was against it. Looking at the area, Ciel frantically hoped that their home would not become. Ciel walked around and looked at the house. She was amazed by the numerous paintings. The girl thought that in their place there would be a large portrait of the head of the family. Sharkies called the girl, saying that it was time for her to meet the Duke. They entered the huge room and knelt before the Duke. The Duke spoke to his son. Ciel thought he had a very pleasant voice and decided to look at him. The Duke was surprised. He said that she was looking at him point blank and that it was too bold. And in addition, he asked his son if she was a mercenary who had been raised by the Duke. The girl said that she was a simple maid, but she knew that the master did not believe her. The girl was afraid that he would not believe her and would kill her. She hastily told him that she was not lying and swore allegiance, also said that she would not let him down. But the girl knew that she could easily be killed for such ignorance. She tugged Sharkey's by the sleeve, silently asking him to help. The young man said that because of the spell, her intelligence had decreased, but the Duke did not believe him. He said that he did not like people like her. The Duke said that if she wanted to survive in their family, she had to be very smart and cunning. He also told his son to prepare everything necessary for the test. Sharkey's picked up the girl. They walked away from the Duke's office. Sharkey's asked the young lady if there was anything she was good at. The girl was plain and she listed what she was good at. Seal sat and thought about what she should do and how to pass the test. After all the thinking, she realized that she needed to pass the test anyway. Sharkey's brought her books about the history of the Bicena family. The girl was surprised. There was a whole mountain of books. She asked the boy that she needed to learn all this in one day. Sharkey said that not in one, but in 2 days. Seal started looking at the books and couldn't understand how a family that had existed for 20 years had accumulated so much history. There was a lot of stuff there. Reading the first pages, the girl thought that the Duke loved himself. Sharkey said that he had learned it all and knew the whole story by heart. The girl was amazed. The young man also said that he had tortured the examiners. The girl remembered how in her past life she read all the novel books, and she remembered everything. But there were small details. The author was obsessed with them. But Ciel knew that she could handle the task. During these 2 days, while the girl was preparing, the servants looked after her. They were very kind. The maid with a smile wished the girl good luck, and also said that Duke first gave her a gift. When Ciel opened the box, she didn't understand what kind of gift it was. She asked the maid if it was really a gift. The maid said that this was a medicine that would help her die quickly and painlessly. Ciel went to take the test. When she arrived at the venue, she was shocked by such an exquisite place. There were many items that were made of gold. Ciel entered the hall and saw only the representatives of the family. The Duke was supposed to come to them. They waited for him. Furzy came in and immediately wished the girl good luck. The head of the family told the girl to name the weakness of the Bicena family. The girl was taken aback and thought for a long time. She knew that if she answered quickly, it would be. Ciel said his weakness is fire. He approached her and asked again. The girl did not understand whether she had answered correctly or whether she should have said something else. She did not know what to expect from him. Everyone had a different reaction to the girl's actions. Furzy pulled his sword from its sheath and was ready to attack at any moment. Sharkey's thought that the girl had gone crazy. God just smirked and said she did it. The second test was for the girl to drink poison. She was about to run away, but she knew perfectly well that if she ran away, everyone would chase her and it would only get worse. If Ciel drank the poison and endured, the girl drank, but the taste was very bitter. The girl drank one and she had only 5 left. Ciel drank them one by one. She didn't feel anything and asked the maid when they would start working. The maid gave the girl the last poison and said that it was made from a dragon's tail and could kill even a soldier. Ciel hesitated whether she should drink it. Ciel didn't expect the poison to taste so disgusting. She felt a little sick. The maid hurriedly asked if she was okay and if she needed to drink the antidote. Ciel said everything was fine and she drank it all. The girl asked the maid to give her a candy. The maid was taken aback by the shock. When she had eaten one candy, she asked for more. The maid gave her a lot of candy. The girl went to an audience with the Duke. After looking at her, the Duke said that the only ones who could drink poison were his sons. He also added that he liked her very much and asked her if she wanted to become the daughter of a monster. The girl knew she had to answer, but she couldn't say anything. She said she would follow the Duke's will and do everything for him, but she also called him by name. Sharkies pulled her and said that it was very rude to address the Duke by his first name. The girl was shocked and wondered why he hadn't said that before. The Duke asked her if she would follow the terms of the contract. The girl said yes, and again addressed him by name. In response, he only laughed and let them go. It had been 4 days since the last second task. Ciel knew she was already in the family. She didn't understand why there was a third task. The girl wanted to find Ferze and tell him about her successes, but she couldn't find him, no matter how hard she tried. The girl went to the room to hand in the third task and was taken aback. She saw a huge cage. She looked into it and did not understand whether there was someone there or not. It was very dark. But she felt that there must be. While the girl was looking into the cage, an unknown person, a hooded man, approached her from behind. The girl was frightened for a moment. She thought it was a scent killer. Taking off her hood, the girl saw Ferze. She cried out his name with joy. The guards came running at her scream. They asked if everything was okay. The girl said that her leg just hurt. They left, leaving him alone. Ferze came out of hiding, and they had a nice conversation. He was worried about her, and he told her not to forget that she still belonged to his family. Ciel said that the best cure for worries is candy. Ferze said that he doesn't like sweets. The girl said that she saw him eating them in the morning. He looked at her and said that she started to talk like a true member of the... He brought her a cookie. The girl was very happy. She shared the second cookie with him. He was surprised, but he accepted the cookie. The girl asked where he was during the second test. He heard some movement, wished the girl good luck, and left in a hurry. The judges entered. As soon as they sat down, a large wolf appeared behind the girl. She was scared. The girl only managed to shout at them and ask them if they wanted to kill her. But they didn't answer her. Ciel prayed a little and rushed into battle. With a knife in her hands, the girl attacked the wolf, but he easily knocked the weapon out of her hand. The girl knelt down and with tears in her eyes asked her father to save her. Ferze shouted at her that she was asking the wrong person. Sharkies told her to ask him. The Duke told them to get out of the way and he would deal with the wolf himself. He shot it with his bow. The beast fell dead to the ground. The gentleman took the girl in his arms and told Irza that he did not say that he would give his girl to him. The girl pulled the Duke's hair and said that he should not disappear to Ferze. Everyone was shocked by the girl's behavior. The young lady knew that she needed to decide something quickly. Otherwise, the girl saw that she had pulled out a little hair from the gentleman. She said that she had lost her mind. The master told Ciel that she was the first person to touch him. She didn't know what to do. The girl was afraid that he would kill her. She quickly hugged him. He reciprocated. She pulled away from him and he told her not to do that again. The girl knew that the Duke's hair was very valuable, so she hid it inside her jacket. The administrator told the girl that she had failed the task since she should have done everything herself. The Duke said to seize and put the administrator in prison. The girl wanted to say something, but she froze in place. "15 days had passed since the tasks were completed. CL studied hard. She had about 6 different classes a day. The girl worked hard on everything. She knew that because of the poison, her character and behavior had changed. A man disturbed her. He introduced himself, saying that his name was Noyce. He said that he knew about her successes in the family history. The girl thought that another lecture was waiting for her. She was waiting. CL wanted to learn something new, but unexpectedly for her, the man asked her a question. The girl was confused. She didn't know how to answer correctly or what position to take. The man asked about politics and governance. CL gave him an ambiguous answer. Hearing the answer, he took off the bandage from his eye, and she remembered who he was and his history. After ascending the throne, the imperial family caught his family in treason and exterminated them. The man asked her if there was a possibility for her new family to go against the imperial family. The girl was taken aback. He also added that if she were the leader in the coup, she would. Seal didn't know what to say. She knew that the imperial family and the church considered the Bison family an enemy. She knew how much Duke Bison had to endure from their alliance against him. Seal said that she would destroy the alliance between the imperial family and the church. She would do anything to protect the lives of her own family. Seal and his new family were sitting, drinking tea. The girl was eating cookies. She had a cookie that she promised to give to the one who saves her from the spirit. She went and gave it to her father. He reluctantly took it and listened to him. Shirkis asked why he was the only one she didn't give a cookie to. She had another one, but she ate it. Ferdzi said it would be easier for her to buy cookies with the money he gave her. Shirkis was angry. The Duke took the girl and decided to leave them. Shirkis only had time to ask where they were going, but he did not answer. Seal asked where they were going. The Duke said softly, to the capital. The girl thought they were going there for cookies, but he said they would buy them next time. He asked her if she was from the street. Seal confirmed. Then she thought that they were going to kill her father. But the Duke said that from now on she had only one father, and that was him. He showed her the dragon. Ciel was shocked. He said that they would fly to the capital on a dragon. She didn't want to. She was too scared. Still, they sat down and flew. Ciel said that it was okay to fly, not so fast, but the Duke said that they had to hurry, otherwise the capital would close soon. They arrived at the capital chancery. There was a hitch in the paperwork as most of the staff had been kidnapped, but the young man tried to get all the paperwork done quickly. They had to wait a bit. As they left the building, they held the documents. As they walked towards the dragon, they walked along the streets and saw different shops. Seal saw her favorite cookies in the store and wanted to buy them. The Duke smiled and said that she had a weakness for food. They had already returned to the estate. They were met, and boxes of cookies were taken away. Seal walked into the room and dreamed of eating cookies on the bed. Then her dreams disappeared. She saw Furze. Furze said he knew the girl was in the capital, but he didn't understand why they took her, if the Duke could just disguise someone. But he said he was happy as long as she was safe. Ciel gave him a cookie. It had a fortune in it. He saw it and crumpled it. Ciel was furious there. On the back was a coupon. If you collect, Ferzey said that he had to go to war to deal with the rebels and the monsters. Ciel knew that the imperial family did not like him and was sending him to war. He gave her the ring and put it on her neck. Ciel knew it was a family ring. As he said goodbye, he kissed her hand and told her to grow up and grow up when he returned. Because he did. Half a year had already passed since Ferzey was at war. The girl was growing up. Ciel stood and braided her father's hair. Waking up, he said that she was and would be the last one to disturb his sleep. He saw the braid. Ciel said they had the same ribbons. There was a massacre in the southern region of the kingdom. One knight sat in tears. He had set up his friends as bait for the monsters, and he himself had survived. He asked him what had happened. He told him everything, and the man in the mask said he would help. And a moment later, he killed him. Celia asked her father to eat with her, and also asked her brother to eat with them. The Duke said that the young man could take care of himself. He took the girl's food order and told the butler what needed to be. Eastern region, the camp of the Knights of the White Knight. Ferzey cut down monsters with lightning speed. He had other things to do, and he needed to quickly sort everything out. Ferzey received a letter from Ciel. She described all her days as they happened. Reading, he did not understand why she did not ask about him. He also received letters from her new family with innocent reproaches and threats. First wanted to return the mine that he had given them. He knew he had to solve her age problem as soon as possible. Otherwise, their engagement could be broken off. Ferzey asked to send a telegram to Mikhailovich Mercury so that she could find something. He told her to tell her that Ciel was taking magic lessons. However, she wasn't very good at drawing magic signs. The teacher said that it was unlikely that a spell would come out of such a drawing. Ciel was not upset. She knew that she had no mana, so she could not draw spells. Then the woman offered to take her a test to calculate the amount of magic. The girl agreed. Ciel did. Mirai Mercury, an archmage, used to work at court and was a teacher to Sharkies and Shrey. The woman is only 60 years old, but she manages to look good and young. The woman and the girl said goodbye very sweetly. Mirai left. Ciel loved the teacher very much, but she wished there were fewer lessons. After the lesson, Ciel wanted to go feed her new friend Tweety. On the way to Tweety, she saw the maids. They were glowing with happiness. The girl thought that some guest had arrived. They gave her cookies and the girl went on. Ciel wandered around looking for Tweety, but he was nowhere to be found. She thought he had gone to see his girlfriend. Ciel had gone very far in her search for a new friend. She had gotten lost. She wanted to find someone to help her get back to her house. Ciel saw a building and went to it. The girl had never seen it or visited it before. She went inside and shouted, thinking that there might be someone. The girl saw a young man. He greeted her. Ciel had never seen him. But she knew it wasn't Shrey. He had blonde hair and blue eyes. They looked at each other, not understanding who was who. The boy asked the girl if she was a new slave. Ciel looked at him and said no, and asked him a counter question. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a huge wolf. The girl stood in front, offering herself to the boy, holding a carrot in her hand, and shouted at the beast to go away. He asked her if she was going to protect him with the carrot, but the girl said that she. Taking off his glove, the young man said that the Bisenas do not protect their servants. He calmed the animal, saying that he saved it so that it would not be turned into roast. Ciel looked at him and realized that it was Shrey. She called him by his name. He said that he did not allow her to say his name and also said that she was a fake, who did not have the blood of the Bisen family. The young man, who was proud of his heritage, did not accept the girl. He was an adopted son. He was asked by his biological parents. The boy was called a monster because he could not control his voice, and it brought death and destruction. Duke Justia saved the boy when he became a fighting slave. The girl was upset because of her stepbrother's behavior. A wolf came up to her, but the girl told him to leave because she wanted to be alone. Tweet came to them. Ciel looked at him and said that he didn't come on purpose. The wolf and the dragon stayed with her to hold her. Shrey went to his father. The Duke said that the young man had caused him some trouble as he had killed a knight, and he was from an influential family, and now they were under pressure from the church. He said that he had removed everyone, as he had taught him. The young man asked his father if he was being rejected because of his adopted daughter. But the Ciel looked for her toy everywhere, but she couldn't find it. She remembered where she could have left it. Ciel realized where she forgot the rabbit, but she didn't want. The girl entered the room and saw Shreyas. She was extremely surprised. The girl greeted him, but he ignored her. Then Ciel smelled the food. Unable to stand it, she sat down to eat. When she was full, she tried to talk to her brother again, but he ignored her. Ciel was upset, as he was her second favorite character from the novel. Ciel and the young lady were sitting and drinking tea. The woman asked Ciel why her eyes were hooded the last time they met. He also said that if it was because of Shrey, she would quickly deal with him. Shrey came to them. He wanted to talk to Ciel, but the girl didn't want to. The woman said that the room had a spell against penetration. Magic was used on Shrey. Ciel was shocked. Shrey said that it was very dark magic, and for its use, a person should be executed. The woman said that it was too harsh. Shrey hung upside down. Ciel approached him. One of the spikes flew into her brother's chest. The girl ran to him, asking if he was okay. He said that she was a street and had been trying to kill him for. The girl knew that it was her magic power and it could solve everything. She approached him. Suddenly, a liana flew at her. She got scared and closed her eyes, but the liana didn't touch her, and steps appeared in front of her. She climbed the steps to her brother. Ciel really wanted to help him and get rid of the wound inflicted by Liana. The girl felt sick and lost consciousness. Ciel began to fall from the steps. Her brother caught her. She wanted to say something to him, but it was hard. She could only ask why he hated her and fell asleep. He carried her into the room. The girl woke up. Her friend was next to her, praying for her to wake up. She was overjoyed when she woke up. She told her what happened after her fall. Suddenly, Shrey came to them. The girl pretended to be asleep. Shrey told her friend that he would not wake her. She left them and went away. Shrey sat down on the girl's bed and started talking to her. After the fall, the girl asked him a question. He came to give an answer to it. He sat with his head down and told her that she would be abandoned just as he had been abandoned. The girl heard the door knock and thought he had left. She jumped up from her bed and saw her brother next to her. The maid came and brought food. They were sitting on the bed. Shrey said that he heard that the girl ran away from home when she was little. Ciel said that she was not abandoned, but on the contrary, she was the one who abandoned them first. Shrey was surprised. And after thinking, he said that this was ridiculous. The maid gave them dessert. Ciel wanted to eat, but suddenly she remembered the original books. Shrey dies second, at the hands of the protagonist. Ciel never got around to dessert and said she wasn't hungry. Her friends were seriously concerned about her well-being. A year had passed since she had hung her brother upside down. No one understood how she had gotten her powers, not even the Duke himself. Now the girl began. They sat and drank tea. The girl liked life with him. He taught her everything, gave her gifts, and brought tasty treats. When the Duke had free time, they spent it together, sitting at a table, drinking tea, and looking at the lake. Everyone was kind to her and she was very happy. Except one person, of course. Shrey was her flight instructor and teacher. He was very strict with her. The girl received a letter from Fries. It was very short. In all their communication, he wrote only 7 letters in a year and a half. And the maid brought her books. They were a gift from Furzy. They were all about monsters, how to tame them and how to control them. The maid said that these books were very old. She was shocked that they were 500 years old. Ciel was surprised. The maid said that the books were Ciel saw a book with a red bookmark. When she opened it, she saw a law prohibiting engagement between people whose age difference was more than 10 years. Ciel was shocked. She immediately realized that their engagement could fall through, and it would be difficult, if not impossible, to circumvent the law. After looking through the book, she saw a letter that had fallen out of it. Ciel looked at the letter and thought that there was a lot of empty space, not like usual. Then a thought came to her mind. She warmed the letter over a candle. The letter was written in invisible ink. After heating it, she saw what was written. Ciel expected to see a whole fox of written paper, but she saw only one inscription. The young man asked her to wait for him. Ciel didn't understand why he wrote it that way and what exactly he meant by that phrase. Ciel thought about their engagement. She thought that they hadn't announced it yet. How could it be broken off? The girl thought that she would quickly grow up and marry him, and then in a few years they would separate and everyone would be in the black. The girl sat and wondered if there was another way to save the engagement without harming anyone. The girl's thoughts were interrupted by Mireille. She said that it was very cute when lovers exchange letters like that. Ciel said that it was not at all what she thought. The mistress said that in today's lesson she would teach Ciel teleportation. Ciel said that she was only 8, but the teacher calmed her down and said that she would help her. The girl was afraid of getting stuck between worlds. Ciel asked out loud for Furzy to come pick her up. The teacher said it was sweet that she missed him so much, and mentioned that she should meet him soon. Ciel was surprised. Ciel thought to herself that the woman might not have said anything at all, but she also reassured herself that he was alive, and she briefly wondered when she would see him. Furzy was alone and thought about the girl. He was sad and missed Ciel. He dozed off. When he woke up, he thought that it was very unexpected to dream about the past and about the girl. He was reading her letter. The girl was asking when he would be back. He wondered if she had read his last letter. His thoughts were lost when an old acquaintance came to see him at a meeting. She brought him what he so desperately wanted. The woman showed him everything she brought but said she was not sure about them. Furzy took 1 bottle and drank it, but there was no effect. He decided to drink it all. The woman said that this poison had become very popular recently, and one gentleman bought 14 bottles. She looked at him one last time, thought that everyone wants to return to their youth, and left him. Ciel was sitting outside drinking tea after her training. She thought it was hard to be a villain when the whole day was scheduled. Her tea was interrupted by her brother's arrival. Sharkies brought her flowers. The girl was very happy to see him. They were both happy to be reunited. He asked her if she missed him, and she said no with a smile. Sharkies said that she was becoming even more attractive with this behavior. He said with a smile, Sharkies wanted to have fun, and she knew it. But he started tossing her around like that, and the news of the engagement shocked her. She felt sick. She didn't know what to do. He approached them and told his brother to take it easy because he was just a child. A serious squabble ensued between them. They began to quarrel. Ciel was no longer happy. Ciel knew she couldn't choose either one, because the other would be offended by her. She had no choice. She had to answer. And answer without offending anyone. Ciel called herself the heir so as not to offend them. She hoped that this would end their quarrel. They looked at her so strangely that she was afraid that she had said everything correctly. Sharky said that she was a girl with great ambitions. After bombarding the girl with questions, she became dejected and said that she was just joking. Sharky said that he would support the girl in any endeavor, even if she wanted to become an heir. Atak asked what her dream was. Seal thought about it. When she was a maid, she wanted to become the head maid. Seal thought about what to say, referring to her contract, and said that she wanted to become a Grand Duchess. Her brother asked her why she wanted to marry a dead man. Ciel knew that Ferze was alive, but he told her that it would not be for long. She thought that her answer was not very reasonable. Barney did Ciel's hair, and she said that in honor of her birthday, the family would throw a feast and open the house to visitors. The girl was surprised, because this had never been done before. Their cheerful conversation was interrupted by Shrey. He was dressed all in black. Shrey said that he had 2 pieces of news, one good and one bad. The girl told him to start with the good news. He was very serious and said that Ferze had died. The girl did not believe him. He could not have died. She knew that she was being lied to. She had turned into a girl in vain. He said his body was never found. The girl did not understand his feelings. He said she was free now. The Duke joined their conversation. He was also dressed in black. Ciel asked where they were going. The Duke said that they were going to the capital. Rumors spread throughout the house, and the servants were puzzled as to why the family would pay such honors to the deceased when they had been sworn enemies in life. Ciel did not know all. Ciel was sitting at the table with her family. She remembered the young man and cried quietly. Sharkies couldn't stand it and said that he was against Ferze. Her father said she was too young to marry. He said he would choose a suitable husband for her later himself. She remembered the conversation over tea. Ciel and her father were sitting in the gazebo, drinking tea. He told her that 8 years old was too early to run after men. She looked at him in surprise and said, "Let him first remove the curse." He said it was nothing and would take about 30 years. The girl knew that for her, it was a... Ciel asked her father if he thought the Duke would be alive by then. He said he would send him to a wonderful place. The girl asked in surprise where he wanted to send him. Ciel thought his words were just another joke. But to her regret, they were true. They consoled her as best they could, but nothing helped. The girl was very upset and wanted to know the truth. She screamed at them furiously. She wanted to know which of them did it. They shifted the blame to each other. The girl was furious at what she heard. Their quarrel was interrupted by some noise. When the Duke and Ciel went out onto the balcony, they saw an explosion and fire. Their estate was burning. The Duke told his sons to check out the situation. A servant ran to the Duke. He shouted that they were attacked by the Twilight Knights. They came to avenge their commander. He told the servant to look after his daughter. The Duke told Ciel not to open the door and to wait for him. Barney was sitting with Ciel. The girl said that the men had left a long time ago. She was worried about them. Barney said that she would go and have a look. And she told the girl to sit quietly. When she went out into the corridor, the girl saw all the guards on the floor. They were unconscious. From what she saw, the girl dropped the letter. She wanted to pick it up when suddenly someone called out to her. She did not understand who it was. Taking off her hood, she saw a young man. He looked very much like Ferze, only with a different energy. He said that he was Feritzi's illegitimate son. The girl could not believe his fame. She had to become a foster mother at such a young age. The girl fell from shock. Ferze caught her and held her. But the young man asked her if she recognized her betrothed. He told her that he had to drink the potion and turn into a young boy because her spell was simply impossible to break. She did not believe him, saying that he was a murderer. He gave her a cookie and said that Ciel realized that it was really him. But the girls did not understand why he needed to do this. She asked him directly why he did this. He said that she asked him about it herself. In the letter, she stated that she could not be with someone older than 10 years, and also added that she called him names every time in the letter. He invited her to take a walk in the garden. She agreed, and they walked through the garden's labyrinth of unusual plants. He put his cape on her shoulders. Ciel was reluctant to take it, but he insisted, saying that there were many poisonous plants in the garden that could destroy life. They were walking in the garden. Furzy asked Ciel if her family treated her well. The girl said that her father and brothers did not offend her. He was surprised and asked how long she had been caught. He asked if she had been hypnotized or launched somehow. But the girl said that they hadn't done anything bad to her. She remembered how she spent time with them, how she braided her father's hair, how her brother read her fairy tales. They had a nice conversation. Ciel said that he had become a fairy now. The boy said that he had had such a nickname when he was a child, and she said that it was old-fashioned to make it smaller, and she gave him a couple of options. He thought for a moment and said he would call her Cookie. Their conversation was interrupted by the Duke. He was angry and dragging the man's body along with him. Furzy said that he entered through the main gate. The Duke looked at him and said that he was probably looking for death. Ciel knew that her father could kill Furzy, and she pushed him away, covered his body with hers, and told him to run. The Duke said that if she wanted to challenge him, she should grow up a little, adding that he forgave her. He took off his glove. Ciel was surprised. He had exposed his mark. It had kept his urges for cannibalism and bloodlust at bay. He asked her to come to him, as it might not be safe. The girl thought that in the past, she could have somehow delayed the Duke and bought time for Furzy, but now she couldn't do that to him. So she wished. The Duke looked at his daughter in surprise. She was taken aback and wished her father luck. Furzy was no less surprised. He thought it was him. In his mind, the girl had changed. The Duke said that at first he thought it was Furzy's son in front of him. Furzy said that he had made a vow and was faithful only to his bride. Sharkies had already dealt with everyone, when suddenly a man attacked him from behind. But Shrey saw the whole picture in time and managed to kill him before he could do. As they walked along the road, they discussed what was happening. Sharkies was sure that something had changed in his brother, but he could not describe the change in words. Sharkies saw that he knew that Shrey was the most cruel. When the Duke brought him, Sharkies immediately realized that he and the Duke were more alike than father and son. He was a real killer who knew no mercy. Sharkies asked the boy if he didn't want to kill anyone because of his sister, but his brother said that, unlike them, he didn't recognize her and didn't consider her a sister. Shrey hesitated and said that the girl simply didn't like the. Ciel stood and watched silently. She couldn't do anything. She was unbearably scared because soon a fight could start between people dear to her. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Sharkies appeared. He brought her a cloak. The girl could not understand how he found them, but she was glad he appeared. The young men began to fight with swords. Ciel admired their fighting skills. She could not understand how Furzy could fight like that. His skills were not affected by the potion. Ciel and her dad sat and watched their fight. He fed her cookies. The Duke gave her only the heads of little people, which were made in the form of cookies. The girl thought that there was a frightened advisor ran up to them. He was very upset and even cried, asking for forgiveness. The girl was surprised because she had never seen him like this. He always hid his emotions under a mask and always. The advisor begged fervently for forgiveness and said that he had made an unforgivable mistake. Everyone looked at him in bewilderment. The advisor said that he had mistakenly sent invitations to those on the blacklist. The girl was worried. She had never heard of a blacklist. His words confused her. The girl didn't understand what kind of blacklist this was and what invitations he was sending. She looked at everyone. They had strange expressions on their faces. It seemed to her that she was the only one who didn't understand. They discussed the current situation. The Duke calmly asked Furzay about all the invitees. He said that it was unlikely that some of them would come, so they had nothing to worry about in vain. The advisor said that the Nightheart Insel would come to replace the Emperor. Everyone looked at each other, and Ciel sat and remembered who it was. Suddenly it dawned on her. A few days before, in the palace where the knights were training, there was an ambiguous conversation between the young men. Hart said that he had not seen Sharky. The knight was taken aback, not knowing what to answer. He only said that Sharky's was not feeling well, and that he had last seen him at the funeral. He asked Hart if he had seen him there. Hart said he wasn't there. The knight told him he was unfeeling and asked how he could not go to the funeral. Hart looked at him with disdain and said it was a farce, not a real funeral, and he didn't want to be there. Hart knew that if the funeral had been truthful, Furs would have been buried according to imperial law. He was sure that all the money from the funeral went to the Bisens, not the imperial family. And all the people at the event. The knight was furious at what he heard, but Hart told him to forget it and leave it all. He was doubly upset. He owed Bisen a lot of money. When Sharkis invited him to his gambling house, he himself did not play, but only read and drank tea, and all his friends. Hart remembered seeing letters from Furzay at the Emperor's. They had everything. He had written before and after the funeral. Furzay had told him everything in his letters. Hart saw the invitation. He was surprised to see that it was from the Bisens. He thought that most likely their advisor had made a mistake. Hart saw that he was invited to a gala banquet in honor of Cielia Bisen. He did not know who it was. He thought that it was an illegitimate child who was being hidden. Hart thought that most likely it was an adopted girl, since the Duke had no other wife after his wife died, and one of the knights mentioned the girl. Hart told the butler to prepare a gift for the Bisenov girl. The servant was very surprised, but said that he would do everything. And he said that Lady Mirai asked if he had any rejuvenating potion left. But the man said that he had given everything. He was an outstanding alchemist. His potions were very popular and effective, and he was predicted to have a great future. But at once, Ciel couldn't understand how he could come if he hurt his brother in the future. She remembered the main novel, and the novel that was published about him and her brother. It was very popular among the aristocrats, but no one could find the author. The Duke was surprised that Hart wanted to come. He thought that he wanted to spy on her. But the girl was sure that he wanted to know more about the Duke than about her. Ciel looked at Furzay and said that it was very dangerous. He took her hand, and looking at her, he told the Duke that he would do everything. There are 8 days left until Ciel's birthday. Her father has forced Furzay to take newlywed lessons. Ciel asked her father if she should attend the newlyweds' lessons. Her father said no. The girl said that in that case she could play. The Duke looked at her and said that she had a lesson planned, a hidden assignment. Ciel didn't understand why she needed this. The Duke told the girl not to communicate formally with Furzay. Ciel sat and watched as Furzay studied different books. He had to learn a lot of information in class, and his advisor helped him. She admired him. Suddenly, Ciel remembered her past life as a maid and their meeting. The butler asked her to bring Furzay some tea and food. Ciel brought everything to him and saw. When Furzay saw, the girl started to mumble and quickly apologize. But he told her that she could calmly take the cookies whenever she wanted, and not sneakily like a rat. Ciel thought that there were differences between them. And without thinking twice, she asked him why he called her a rat. The young man did not understand what he was talking about. The advisor heard their squabble and started writing everything down, and said that they could lose points. Ciel was shocked. But she asked. Sharkis met with a woman. She brought him a rejuvenation potion. He looked at it, saying that it looked different in the catalog. The lady said that they changed the design. He started drinking. The lady shouted that he had drunk too much, but he did not pay attention to her words. She asked if their contract was still valid. He looked in the mirror, looking for a resemblance. He didn't want to be like him at all, because he killed his mother. And for him, he would always remain a monster and a murderer. Many years ago, they had a happy family, but after Sharkis was born, his mother fell ill, and after some time, she even fell ill. Coming to her room, Sharkies heard her request. The woman asked him to never. He prayed for her constantly. And that day he prayed too. After the prayer, he decided to go to his mother. He saw his father with a bloody sword coming out of his mother's room. He asked his father where his mother was and what was wrong with her. The Duke looked at him coldly and said that he should not call him father anymore. Sharkies came to the Duke. He asked him for one of the Duke's portraits. He said that there were several in the basement and he could take them. Sharkies said that he had looked there and had. The Duke looked at him in surprise and asked what kind of portrait he wanted. Sharkies hesitated a little and said that he wanted a portrait of the Duke sleeping with a teddy bear or drinking tea with biscuits, and the Duke was a little puzzled and asked why he needed such art. Sharkies said that it was for Ciel's studies. Mireille really wanted to have such a portrait. The Duke said that he had already given her 3 portraits. He thought that he could find a new teacher for the girl, but they talked, and he realized that this was not a very good idea, because the girl had such power that not every magician could hold her. Ciel was sitting and waiting for Sharkies. A maid came. Ciel asked where Sharkies was and why he was late. She was told that there would be archery today and she couldn't be late. The maid said that she heard. Ciel went to Fursa. A maid came to them and brought them a pie. Ciel ate. Then suddenly she remembered that she was rude to her father and she needed to apologize to him. The girl came back and told Furzy not to offend Leo and to be kinder to everyone. He agreed with her. Then suddenly she remembered that she had not greeted the maid Marion. After talking, they decided to go to the meeting together. But Ciel said she would ask her dad. The girl went to her father. He was waiting for her and prepared a surprise for her. Ciel saw her favorite star-shaped cookie. The Duke said that he had ordered the cookie especially. Ciel asked the genius archmage how the antidote was going. He was surprised when she called him that. He said that premature maturation could lead to He said that he didn't want his daughter to suffer. She said that she was fine and that she had been through a hard time before. He began to wonder. The girl did not know what would happen to her next. He said that he was glad about it, because his sons did not raise their voices at him. The Duke said that she would meet with. Winnie came to Ciel and said that Furzy had passed the first exam, and that her salary had been cut, and her ears were proof of that. The girl said that when she earned a lot of money, Winnie told Ciel not to pay attention to Leo, and if he bothered her, she would deal with him. Ciel asked her if she wanted to kill the assistant, but Winnie said no. And quickly, Winnie is now a maid, but she used to be a famous person. She had a wayward nature. She ran away, became a pirate, and saved people who were enslaved. She ran away from her parents and her fiancé. Later, her fiancé found her and took her captive. He tortured her to such an extent that she lost her memory. After that, she was saved by the Duke and she began to work for him. Ciel went to class. Sharkies gave her a bow. He showed her the first scarecrow and told her that her victim was Garth Ansel. Ciel was confused. It was his commander. He asked her if she had read the book that was written about them. Ciel said that such reading was not for a young girl. She shot at him. Sharkies was very happy and said that she was a good girl because she managed to kill him 3 times. He showed her the second stuffed animal. And it was an exact copy of Furzy. She shot him right in the heart. Sharkies praised her and said that on the battlefield she should think of herself first. She remembered how her brother died. There was a war going on, and her family was losing. And suddenly Garth shot Sharkies' brother. Sharkies saw the arrow and protected his brother. As he died, he told him to become. The girl looked at her brother and said that when she grows up, she will definitely protect him. And everything will be fine with him. She didn't want more. Ciel knew that she had to protect her family. Ciel was drinking tea with her father. The Duke told her not to worry. He was sure that Furzy would pass the exam. Ciel was worried because the exam was on history, and it included knowledge of an ancient language. Ciel noticed that her father had been wearing light-colored clothes lately. She thought about it and said that he wasn't a villain at all. The Duke said he didn't know what her criteria were, but he was a real villain, and he asked her if he wanted to go to the light side. The girl said she had no choice. The Duke said that her words upset him very much and that she was still far from him, but he heard that she wanted to become the head of the family. The girl said that he was the head of the family now, and they could not occupy. The Duke asked Ciel if she had heard of the Decaron royal family. In order to hold the throne for 500 years, they had to kill the king. The Duke said he would wait for that. The Duke asked why she didn't call him by his name. Ciel said that Sharky said it was impolite. The Duke said that his word was more important. Ciel's birthday came. She looked absolutely wonderful. Her brother came to see Ciel off. She was very happy. He said that if Sharky's had come, she would have been happier. Ciel said she was very glad to see him. He blushed a little. Shrey asked her if her friends would come. She said that there were few of them, and sometimes it happens that there is no one to even talk to. Shrey asked, "What about?" Shrey said that a priest was supposed to come to them, but that was not certain. The girl remembered him in real history. He served in the church but remained neutral. He had magic. Ciel asked him what his name was. The priest's name was Luis Serrato, and he was 3 years older than Ciel. There was a commotion all around. Brother told Ciel that if she was worried, she should hold on to his clothes. She was surprised and asked why not his hand. He said Ciel was sitting in the circle of her family. Brother said that Ferze was not invited to the party. The girl was offended, and she could not understand how he could not get an invitation. Shrey's stepbrother told her not to forget that they were villains and should act like them. She pretended to be angry. Sharky's asked her what she was doing. The girl said that her brother told her. Sharky said that they had a lot of guests coming to visit, so she should smile. Shrey and Sharky started arguing again about what she should do. Ciel said that when she talks to Sharky's, she will smile, but when she talks to Shrey, she will be angry. The Duke stood up and greeted the guests. He also thanked them for coming and making them happy with their arrival, and he said that they should have fun. Ciel was given gifts. The girl was a little shocked by them. They were a little strange. Ciel asked why she needed a mace. She was asked that she didn't like gifts. Seeing her face, Sharky said they would accept the rest of the gifts later, when suddenly Garth Ansel approached them. He brought her cookies in a beautiful box. The girl knew that her father had forbidden anyone to give her cookies. She looked at him with admiration. The Duke told Sharky's to hand over his gift. Sharky's came up and wanted to take the gift, but the man stopped him, saying that the gift was quite safe and the young lady could take it. Sharky's said that all gifts go through the Duke and he should give it to him. The man gave him the gift. Everyone enjoyed their scuffle. The ladies said that they were just like heroes from a novel. Ciel said to give her the cookies, but her brother said that he needed to check them. He said that the girl could eat the cookies he gave her. Ciel said that he gives her the same cookies every day, and she wants something new. The man said he had prepared another gift for the birthday girl. He started to take it out. The brothers thought he was planning an assassination attempt on her, and they were on guard. Shrey put a knife. Ciel was shocked. The cookies were limited in production, made once every 10 years. The Duke asked how he knew his daughter liked cookies. He said that all children that age liked cookies. Ciel dropped the box of cookies. The young man picked it up. He said she could come to his place whenever she wanted and he would treat her to ice cream. It wasn't as popular as the cookies, but it was very tasty. The Duke said that the girl did not need to go anywhere. She only had to wish and everything would be delivered. Ciel was surprised and very happy. Fertzi sat and translated books from the ancient language. When suddenly Ciel flew to him on a dragon. He told the young lady that it was very dangerous to fly like that and at such a height. Ciel got off the dragon and entered his room. He came close to her. The girl said that they should not come closer than 5 meters. Ferzi said that he passed the exam and the Duke reduced the distance to Ciel brought him cookies. She said they tasted different. She threw him a box and he caught it. Ciel told him who gave it to her. Ferzi was surprised that she knew. She asked Ferzi if he wanted to go for a walk. He agreed, as he was tired of sitting in his room and doing the task. Ciel suggested that he sit on the dog and follow her and the dragon. Ferzi asked how she had managed to sneak in so unnoticed. Ciel said that she knew all the loopholes after a year of living with the family. The young lady suggested that they stop by the lake. Ciel asked the young man when they would get married. He said that he hadn't thought about it yet and asked when she wanted. Ciel asked if the time depended on their contract. Ferzi thought about it and said that it was too early to think about it. And it was too early. He took out a small bottle and started drinking. Ciel asked him what it was. He said it was just vitamins. But she realized it was poison and started to take it from his hands. He told her to stop because the spell might work. But nothing happened. Then she said that they were outside the castle and that the spell wouldn't work. They walked around the area, holding hands. Ferzi asked her if she wanted to visit his estate. The girl said she didn't know, and it wasn't the best decision, because she could be found. And she was very worried about her dad. Ciel said she would go with him, but would write a note to her father not to worry. They sat in the bushes and hid while her father's servants searched for them. Ferzi was sure that they didn't need to sit like that. But Ciel was sure of the opposite. Suddenly, they saw a man. It was the man who had given her cookies for her birthday. Ciel was surprised that he was walking in such a remote place and thought that he was plotting something against her family. Sir Ansel noticed them. Ferzi showed up first, followed by Ciel. He said he couldn't allow them to escape and he intended to stop them. Ferzi told him to mind his own business. He asked when he was going to grow up, and Ciel asked him the same question. Ferzi became a bit quiet and said that he just wanted to match her age. The man asked if he could take them. Ciel asked why he was so insistent on going with them. He said that her father had kicked him out and he had nowhere to go. Ferzi was glad and said with a smile, Ciel said he could come with them, and asked if he knew why her father's power wasn't working. The man said he had a ring on his hand that blocked the Duke's power. The girl was amazed. Sir said that their clothes were not suitable for escaping. He changed their outfits with a wave of his hand. He also asked Ciel not to tell anyone that he helped them. Ciel said that she would not tell anyone. The young people were about to go through the main gate. Ferzi put his cape on Ciel and they walked quietly. The girl was surprised that it was so easy to pass. The man said that he cast magic on them. The Duke asked the servants if they had found his daughter. The men said they had looked everywhere, but the girl was nowhere to be found. He was furious and at a loss as to where she could have gone. The cook sat and cried. He was upset that the young lady did not try his holiday cookie house, and he tried so hard for her. The Duke couldn't believe his daughter had done this to him. Sharky said it was his fault, and he should have dealt with Ferzi sooner. But the Duke said that Shrey would deal with them, and Sharky should keep an eye on the Emperor. He should arrive at the estate soon, and he needs to find out everything about him so that they don't have any problems. The young gentleman passed through the gates quietly and calmly. No one noticed them. Ciel was surprised and said that it was very simple. Estelle said that he cast magic on them, and that was why they were not seen. They had already seen their friends. Elle said that she was sorry that the dog didn't have wings. With wings, they would have reached their destination faster. Sir Estelle cast a magic spell and the dog got wings. The girl was happy with the new changes and thanked him. She also said that he was cool. They mounted their pets and flew. The man said they needed to land in the forest and showed the direction as they could be seen. CL said he was right. They arrived at the place. A carriage was waiting for them. CL was surprised, as she did not expect the carriage to arrive so quickly. CL said goodbye to the pets, and they went to the castle. CL said that she would like to meet the maid, but she is not sure that she will recognize her. Furzy said that she knows everything and will definitely recognize her. But unfortunately, she is sick and is now resting and gaining strength until the young man said that she also needed to rest after the hard journey, and he would accompany her. The girl did not resist and went with him. Sharky stood by the window and thought about his sister. He wanted her to come back soon. He promised to be kinder to her. Seal looked into Furze's office and asked for a piece of paper. She wanted to write a letter to her father so that he wouldn't worry. Furze asked if she liked her father. Ciel said that she liked him very much, and Furze thought about it. And he remembered the old days and his parents. Roman Eckhart was the younger brother of the 17-year-old emperor of the empire, Gibril. Since childhood, he was a weak, timid, and easily influenced person. Therefore, his brother was able to become emperor. Roman had a son. It was Furze, who was very different from his father. The 17-year-old emperor impressed upon his son, Crown Prince Callan, that he should beware. Until his last breath, he told him not to let his guard down, as Furze could lay claim to the throne. In addition, Furze had a dragon bone sword in his arsenal, so the sword that was made from the bone of the first dragon was called Warhite, also called a gift from God. The very first dragon was called Sharun Warhite. And this dragon had a son by a woman. Marcus was a man with dragon blood in his veins. He was a simple blacksmith. The dragon gave his bone to his son, who made a sword out of it, which he called Varhite. Thus, the blade was endowed with an unusual power that few could resist. But one day, the emperor declared a hunt for the bloodthirsty dragon. And as a reward, he promised not only gold and silver, but also the opportunity. But without a penny in his pocket, he could not even think about the princess. After thinking, he went to his father. He came to his father and said that he had a problem. The young man said that he knew it was very mean of him, but he just really wanted to win the hand of the young princess. The dragon said that his son would become king, and he in turn would turn into a bloodthirsty monster who. The dragon said that his curse would not touch his son, but it would envelop anyone who tried to take possession of the sword made from his bone. He said that he would get everything he dreamed of, even if all that was left of him were burnt bones and an unbeating heart. So the son killed his father with a sword made from his own bone. After his death, the Trevia cup was made from his heart. It protected the Gibril Empire, and the sword forged from bone became both a blessing and a curse. Knights who used the dragon sword when they reached adulthood were overcome by illness. They suffered from hallucinations and paranoia. They could not distinguish reality from illusions. Unable to bear it, many committed suicide. The rest of those driven mad by the curse were either sent to the scaffold or imprisoned. In order to break the dragon's curse, the holy chalice of Trevia, made from the heart of a dragon, was needed. It took 20 years to imbue the cup with magic. Emperors also forbade their knights to use the cup. But before the curse could completely consume the knights' minds, they rebelled against the emperor and stole the cup. Since then, Varhite has been called not only the Sword of Dragon Glory, but when Furze was 5 years old, he took the sword into the manor's dungeon. His mother told him that he must not touch the dragon sword. She told him that he was destined to become the sword's puppet, and that the sword would consume his soul. His mother said that now, for the rest of his life, he would have to prove that he was not a traitor. Thursday fell into his memories. Ciel called out to him. She asked if he was okay, as he looked worried. She also said that she wanted to see Aunt Marian soon. Thursday asked her if Marian had really saved her. She hesitated, but answered that she had. Thursday remembered that day. Ciel was dying on the ground. She asked Thursday to save her. The boy looked at her and asked her if he saved her. What would he get in return? The girl could only. Everyone in the yard was shocked. They did not understand why Thursday saved her. Sitting in the room, Marian said that if the head of the family finds out, he will not like it. Thursday looked at her and said that the maid apologized for her words. The young man said that there was no need to pinch the child just because he decided to help her. Ciel worked tirelessly. Thursday called her and asked what she was happy about. The girl smiled and she had a job, a roof over her head, and she was not. Ciel said that she got hit very hard. And when she woke up, the maid told her everything. Thursday said that it was he who saved her, not the maid. Ciel thanked him for giving his consent, and Ciel asked the master what he lived for. He answered that he lived for self-sacrifice and duty. The girl was shocked. She asked if he couldn't live for something abstract. But Ciel said that it was wrong. Everyone in the castle loved him, and his family loved him too. She said that he was not a puppet and deserved to be happy, and he simply had to live the life he wanted. Ciel had been in the manor for 3 days already. She remembered how her father, at such an early time, she would run to him, and he would treat her to cookies. She thought about her family and what had changed for them while she was away. The Duke came to his son. He said that Ciel was missing, and it was his fault because he had been so strict with her. Shrey asked his father why he thought so. The Duke was sad. He said he was worried that she might pay for his sins and that she might be harmed. And because of his anxiety, the man became obsessed with training. Shrey said that it was not his father's fault, but rather his own fault for her escape, since he was worried that she would leave them after the contract expired and was rude and inattentive to her. The Duke said that he had wanted to ask him about this. The Duke asked his son to make sure that First understood what happens when he offends his family, but he asked him to do everything carefully so that the girl would not suffer. The Duke approached his son and stroked his head. They both froze in shock, looking at each other. The Duke said that his hair was rumpled and he was fixing it. The young man said, as he left the room, the Duke told the boy to be careful. The young boy froze in surprise and blushed. This had never happened before.